Residential streets look calm, but they are one of the biggest hidden exam traps. In this video, I will explain how to correctly drive in residential streets in Germany and what examiners actually expect in this area. With this video, you will understand how speed and awareness changes in this area, why right before left is important here, and how to handle pedestrians and cyclists and park cars safely, because residential driving is all about control and anticipation. So in Germany there are two types of residential streets. So in this video we'll talk about place streets and how you can drive confidently in place streets in Germany. So now let's understand what the core rule says. So here is the core rule. So the core rule says that whenever we are driving in residential zones and most importantly when we are driving in place streets, drive at a low and controlled speed. Then additionally we need to maintain high pedestrian awareness, and in many residential areas we have to use the right before left rule. Also important thing wanted to remember that visibility is often limited because of parked cars, because of narrow roads and side streets, and children or cyclists appearing suddenly. So here whenever we are driving in residential areas, signs and signals always override normal rules. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe to my channel for more practical driving tips and guidance in Germany. Now let's understand this core rule with the help of a diagram. So now here we can see a diagram of a residential area where there are multiple intersections. So now at this intersection or on the place streets, here we can see there is a cyclist coming in, and at the same time there is a vehicle coming behind the cyclist. Now in this case the cyclist wants to go straight, and additionally the red color vehicle also want to go straight. So now here we might be having a question, who will be having the first priority? So before understanding who will be have the first priority, we need to understand the situation. So in core rule we have understood that whenever we are driving in place street, the cyclists and pedestrians usually have the first priority. This also confirms that even though if they are driving at a slower speed, we have to wait behind them and we have to drive carefully behind them. Once they cross the intersection, and if there is a safe gap, then and then only we can complete the overtaking maneuver, and if necessary then and then we have to complete the overtaking maneuver. So as we have understood from the core rule, the priority will be given to the cyclist, and then the red color vehicle will be given the second priority. So this confirms that the cyclist will go first at this intersection, and then the red color vehicle will follow the cyclist. Now here in this case, for example, as we are driving in place street, if the car started overtaking the cyclist, this is completely wrong, and this is what we have to avoid when we are driving in a residential play street. So the correct way in a residential area is we have to wait behind the cyclist, and as soon as he crosses the intersection we have to cross the intersection. So this is what we need to do when we are driving in a play street. So always remember that you should always be ready to slow down. We need to brake and stop if necessary when we are driving in a play street. Additionally, as the core rule says that the cyclists and the pedestrians who are walking on the play street will be having the first priority. Now let's understand when this rule does not apply. So this rule does not apply when we see a traffic signs, and if the traffic signs are present, in that case this rule will not apply. But we need to remember that whenever we are driving in a place streets in Germany, there won't be any traffic signs. So second, if there is a shared space instructions, in that case this rule will not apply. So normally there are separate lanes where there will be a shared space instructions, and in that case we don't follow this rule. Third, when there is a priority signboards, they normally override normal road rules. Lastly, if there are police who are directing the traffic, in that case also this rule will not apply. Remember, signs and signals always override the default rule. So now let's talk about some of the common driving exam mistakes. So here are some of the common driving exam mistakes when we are driving in a residential streets. First, ignoring pedestrians or cyclists. Second, driving too fast in a narrow street. Third, unsafe overtaking in limited space. Fourth, forgetting right before left rule at a small intersection. Last, driving too close to parked vehicles. In this case, examiner look for calm and defensive driving. Additionally, we need to remember that whenever we are driving in residential zones, right before left rule we have to use at unmarked intersection. If you want to know how the right before left rule works, I have created a separate video on this topic. And additionally, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Now let's understand what should be the correct thinking process. When we are entering in a residential street, think like this. Firstly, we need to identify the street type. So as I said, in a core rule, there are two types of residential areas. So when we talk about place street, we have to give the priority to the pedestrians and the cyclists who are on the main road. And in second type of residential zone, here we can complete the overtaking maneuver if there is a safe gap. And here the maximum permissible speed usually is 30 km per hour. But when we talk about place streets, we are not allowed to drive more than 10 km per hour. Then next we need to reduce our speed early, and then we have to check carefully for the signboards, and if necessary we have to use the right before left rule. Always remember, people first and then comes the speed. I have also recorded a practical residential driving video where we apply these rules in real streets with pedestrians, cyclists and parked cars. That video will help you to understand how much awareness this area requires. That's it from this video. Now you clearly understand what examiners expect in residential street driving.